The Battle of Monmouth, fought on June 28, 1778, stands as a significant event in the American Revolutionary War, marking a pivotal moment for the Continental Army under General George Washington. This battle not only showcased the evolving capabilities of American forces but also highlighted the complexities of leadership and command during a critical phase of the war. The engagement occurred against a backdrop of strategic maneuvering, intense heat, and the introduction of legendary figures such as Molly Pitcher, embodying the spirit of American resilience. Historical context. Prelude to the Battle of Monmouth was set against a backdrop of shifting allegiances and military strategies. Following the British surrender at Saratoga in 1777, France entered the war as an ally to the Americans in February 1778. This shift put pressure on British forces, leading to strategic withdrawals and realignments. The new British commander, Lieutenant General Henry Clinton, aimed to consolidate his troops in New York City after abandoning Philadelphia. His army began a slow retreat across New Jersey, which provided an opportunity for Washington's Continental Army to engage. Forces involved. The forces at Monmouth were unevenly matched. The Continental Army consisted of approximately 14,500 troops, including around 1,000 militia members. In contrast, the British Army numbered about 21,000 soldiers, including Hessian mercenaries. Despite being outnumbered, the Americans had undergone extensive training at Valley Forge during the harsh winter months preceding the battle. This training would prove crucial in their performance at Monmouth. The engagement. Initial movements. On the morning of June 28, Clinton's forces began their withdrawal from Monmouth Courthouse. Washington ordered Major General Charles Lee to attack the British rear guard, which consisted of about 500 light infantry and dragoons. Lee's initial assault was intended to disrupt the British retreat and inflict damage on their forces. However, as Lee launched his attack, he encountered unexpected resistance from Lord Cornwallis's reinforcements. Faced with this challenge and lacking confidence in his troops, Lee ordered a retreat without adequately informing Washington or coordinating with his commanders. This decision would lead to chaos on the battlefield. Washington's arrival. Washington arrived on the scene shortly after Lee's retreat began. Witnessing his troops fleeing in disarray infuriated him. He quickly took command and rallied his men to reform their lines. Washington's decisive action was critical in preventing a complete rout and allowed him to establish a more organized defense against the advancing British forces. The battle unfolds as temperatures soared over 90 degrees Fahrenheit that day. Both sides engaged in fierce combat under brutal conditions. The battle featured one of the largest artillery duels of the war as cannons roared across the field. Washington positioned General Nathanael Greene's division on the right flank and General William Alexander's division on the left, while placing Lee's remaining troops under Marquis de Lafayette's command. The fighting saw significant back-and-forth exchanges between American and British forces throughout the hot afternoon. Despite suffering from heat exhaustion and dehydration, issues that plagued both armies, the Continental soldiers held their ground effectively against British assaults. The turning point. By late afternoon, fatigue set in for both sides. Although Washington considered pressing further into a renewed attack on Cornwallis's forces, he ultimately decided against it due to exhaustion among his troops. As night fell, Clinton quietly withdrew his forces under cover of darkness toward Sandy Hook. Aftermath and significance. Casualties and immediate outcomes. The Battle of Monmouth resulted in significant casualties. Approximately 109 Americans were killed, with many more wounded or missing. British losses were reported at around 207 dead and 170 wounded. However, many casualties were attributed to heat-related illnesses rather than direct combat injuries. While neither side could claim a decisive victory, tactically it was viewed as inconclusive. The battle had strategic implications for both armies. Washington's ability to maintain control over the battlefield demonstrated that his army had improved significantly since its winter training at Valley Forge. Legacy of Molly Pitcher. One enduring legacy from this battle is that of Molly Pitcher, or Mary Ludwig Hayes Macaulay. She became emblematic of women's contributions to the war effort by delivering water to soldiers and reportedly taking over cannon duties when her husband was incapacitated during combat. Her story reflects broader themes of sacrifice and resilience that characterized many individuals' experiences during the Revolutionary War. Impact on leadership dynamics. The aftermath also had repercussions for military leadership. Within the Continental Army, Charles Lee faced criticism for his actions during the battle. His retreat led to a court-martial that effectively ended his military career. Washington's decisive leadership during this chaotic engagement solidified his reputation as a capable commander who could inspire and rally his troops even under dire circumstances. The Battle of Monmouth remains a significant chapter in American history not only for its military implications but also for its cultural impact through figures like Molly Pitcher and its lessons about leadership and resilience under pressure. Ultimately, it illustrated how far the Continental Army had come since its early struggles and laid groundwork for future engagements against British forces throughout the Revolutionary War. This engagement serves as a reminder of both individual heroism and collective effort during one of America's most challenging periods, a testament to those who fought for independence and shaped the nation's history. The Battle of Monmouth, fought on June 28, 1778, marked a significant moment in the American Revolutionary War. General Charles Lee, second in command to General George Washington, faced a series of strategic missteps that ultimately led to a disorganized engagement and a retreat that would tarnish his reputation. This speech will explore the key strategic mistakes made by General Lee during the Battle of Monmouth, analyzing their implications on the outcome of the battle and their lasting impact on Lee's military career. Background of the battle. The context of the Battle of Monmouth is essential to understanding Lee's decisions. The Continental Army had undergone extensive training at Valley Forge, and Washington aimed to exploit this newfound discipline against the British forces retreating from Philadelphia. Lee was tasked with leading a vanguard against the British rear guard commanded by General Sir Henry Clinton. However, he faced several challenges: unfamiliar terrain, conflicting intelligence about enemy strength and movements, and a mixed command of inexperienced troops. Key strategic mistakes. 1. Failure to execute orders. One of Lee's most critical errors was his failure to adhere to Washington's orders for an immediate attack on the British rear guard. Instead of launching a timely assault, Lee delayed action until he could gather more information about the enemy's position. This hesitation allowed the British to regroup and prepare for a counterattack, ceding the initiative to General Cornwallis and his forces. 2. Poor communication and coordination. Lee's inability to effectively communicate with his subordinate commanders contributed significantly to the chaos on the battlefield. He convened meetings with his officers but failed to establish a clear plan that everyone could follow. For instance, when Brigadier General Anthony Wayne moved to engage the enemy without informing Lee, it led to confusion about their respective strategies. This lack of coordination resulted in disjointed attacks that failed to capitalize on opportunities as they arose. Inadequate intelligence gathering. Lee's approach to intelligence was flawed. He acknowledged gaps in reconnaissance but did little to rectify these issues before engaging in battle. His decision to proceed without comprehensive knowledge of enemy positions left him vulnerable to British maneuvers. The failure to fully understand the terrain and enemy strength hindered his ability to formulate an effective strategy. 4. Misjudgment of troop morale and capability. Lee exhibited a lack of confidence in his troops, which affected his decision-making process. He underestimated their training and resolve, leading him to adopt a more cautious approach rather than pressing an advantage when it was available. This misjudgment not only diminished morale among his soldiers but also contributed to their subsequent panic during the British counterattack. 5. Retreat under pressure. When faced with a strong counterattack from British forces, Lee ordered a retreat instead of regrouping and reinforcing his position. This decision created disorder among his ranks, resulting in many soldiers fleeing the battlefield in panic. Washington's arrival was crucial in stabilizing the situation, however. Lee's initial retreat undermined what could have been a decisive victory for the Continental Army. 6. Failure to adapt plans. Lee's inability to adapt his plans in response to changing circumstances on the battlefield further compounded his mistakes. When Wayne executed an unauthorized flanking maneuver that deviated from Lee's original intent, Lee struggled to adjust his strategy accordingly. Instead of capitalizing on Wayne's initiative, he became reactive rather than proactive. Consequences of Lee's mistakes. The consequences of these strategic blunders were significant not only for the outcome of the Battle of Monmouth but also for Lee's military career. Following the battle, Washington publicly rebuked Lee for his conduct and removed him from command. 26. The ensuing court-martial found Lee guilty on multiple charges related to disobedience and poor leadership during the battle, effectively ending his career as a prominent general in the Continental Army. The Battle of Monmouth serves as a cautionary tale about leadership and decision-making in warfare. General Charles Lee's key strategic mistakes: failure to execute orders, poor communication, inadequate intelligence gathering, misjudgment of troop capabilities, retreat under pressure, and failure to adapt, collectively undermined what could have been a significant victory for the Continental Army. These missteps not only impacted the battle itself but also altered Lee's legacy within American military history. Understanding these errors provides valuable lessons for future leaders in both military and civilian contexts about the importance of decisiveness, communication, and adaptability in achieving success. The training at Valley Forge was a transformative period for the Continental Army, significantly influencing its performance at the Battle of Monmouth. This speech will explore the multifaceted impacts of this training, highlighting the strategic decisions made by General George Washington, the contributions of Baron von Steuben, and the overall evolution of the Army into a cohesive and effective fighting force. The winter of 1777 to 1778 at Valley Forge was a critical juncture in the American Revolutionary War. Faced with harsh conditions and previous military defeats, General Washington recognized that for the Continental Army to stand a chance against the British forces, significant changes were necessary. This speech will detail how the training at Valley Forge not only prepared the soldiers for battle but also instilled a sense of unity and professionalism that would be crucial during the Battle of Monmouth. The context of Valley Forge. The state of the Continental Army before encamping at Valley Forge. The Continental Army had suffered several setbacks, including defeats at Brandywine and Germantown. These losses highlighted the Army's lack of formal training and discipline, leading to chaotic battlefield performances. Washington understood that to transform these ragtag groups into a formidable army, he needed to implement structured training and reforms. Choosing Valley Forge. Washington selected Valley Forge for its strategic advantages. The location provided natural defenses against potential British attacks while allowing proximity to Philadelphia, where British forces were stationed. This choice facilitated ongoing surveillance and potential engagement with enemy troops while providing a secure environment for training. The role of Baron von Steuben arrival and immediate impact. Baron Friedrich von Steuben arrived at Valley Forge in February 1778. Tasked with standardizing the training regimen for the Continental Army. His experience in the Prussian military allowed him to introduce European military tactics that were essential for modern warfare. He quickly became instrumental in transforming the army's operational capabilities. Training methods. Von Steuben developed a comprehensive drill manual that emphasized discipline, efficiency, and cohesion among troops. He taught soldiers how to load and fire their muskets effectively, use bayonets in combat, and execute complex maneuvers as a unified force. His rigorous training methods led to marked improvements in soldier performance and morale. Building cohesion and morale. The training at Valley Forge fostered a sense of camaraderie among soldiers from diverse backgrounds, as they learned to work together under von Steuben's guidance. They began to view themselves as part of a professional army rather than individual militias. This newfound identity was crucial for their confidence going into future battles. The transformation of the Continental Army. Structural reforms. The winter encampment also saw significant organizational reforms within the Army. Washington advocated for longer enlistments and better supply systems to ensure that soldiers were adequately equipped and supported. These changes laid the groundwork for a more sustainable military structure capable of prolonged engagements. Health and hygiene improvements. Von Steuben also emphasized military hygiene practices, which improved overall health within the camp. By addressing issues such as sanitation and nutrition, he helped reduce disease-related casualties among troops, further enhancing their readiness for combat. Performance at the Battle of Monmouth. Strategic engagement. By June 1778, when the Continental Army faced British forces again at Monmouth, they were no longer the disorganized group that had retreated from previous battles. Instead, they entered this engagement as a trained and cohesive unit ready to implement their new skills on the battlefield. Outcomes of Monmouth. During the Battle of Monmouth, on June 28, 1778, Washington's troops demonstrated their improved capabilities by forcing British troops into a tactical retreat. This victory not only boosted American morale, but also showcased how effective training could directly influence battlefield outcomes. The battle marked a turning point in public perception of the Continental Army as it began to gain respect as a legitimate military force. The training at Valley Forge was pivotal in shaping the Continental Army into an effective fighting force capable of standing up to British regulars during the Revolutionary War. Through strategic leadership by General Washington and innovative training techniques introduced by Baron von Steuben, soldiers emerged from this challenging winter not only better prepared for battle but also united in purpose. The success at Monmouth was a testament to their hard work and resilience, a clear indication that Valley Forge was indeed a crucible for transformation that would influence American military history for years to come. Molly Pitcher, born Mary Ludwig Hayes Macaulay in 1754, is a legendary figure from the American Revolutionary War, particularly known for her role in the Battle of Monmouth on June 28, 1778. Her story embodies the courage and resilience of women who supported the war effort, often in ways that went unrecognized at the time. Background: Mary Ludwig was born near Trenton, New Jersey, and married William Hayes, an artilleryman in the Continental Army. Like many women of her time, she followed her husband during his military service, taking on various support roles such as laundry and cooking. However, her contributions would soon extend far beyond these traditional duties. The Battle of Monmouth. The Battle of Monmouth was one of the largest battles fought during the American Revolution, and was notable for its sweltering heat. As the battle raged on, soldiers became exhausted and dehydrated. It was during this critical moment that Molly Pitcher earned her nickname. She bravely carried pitchers of water to the soldiers and artillery crews, helping to cool both the men and their cannon barrels under intense fire from British troops. Heroic actions. Molly's most famous act of bravery occurred when her husband collapsed from heat exhaustion during the battle. Without hesitation, she stepped in to take his place at the cannon, demonstrating remarkable skill and determination. Witnesses noted her composure under fire. One soldier recounted how a cannonball passed between her legs without causing harm, to which she quipped about her luck. This act not only showcased her bravery but also challenged traditional gender roles of the time. Legacy. Molly Pitcher's actions at Monmouth did not go unnoticed. After the battle, George Washington reportedly inquired about the woman who had fought so valiantly alongside the troops and promoted her to a non-commissioned officer rank 5. This recognition was significant as it highlighted women's contributions to the war effort. Despite her heroism, much of Molly Pitcher's life after the war was marked by hardship. She married John Macaulay after William's death, but faced financial difficulties due to his mismanagement of their resources. Nevertheless, she remained a respected member of her community until her death in 1832. Molly Pitcher remains an enduring symbol of women's contributions during the Revolutionary War. Her legacy serves as a reminder that women played vital roles in shaping history, often in ways that were overlooked or forgotten. The story of Molly Pitcher not only celebrates individual bravery but also underscores the collective efforts of women who supported their families and communities during times of conflict. Her actions at the Battle of Monmouth exemplify courage and resilience, making her a true heroine of American history. The Battle of Monmouth, fought on June 28, 1778, marked a significant moment in the American Revolutionary War. This engagement not only showcased the evolving capabilities of the Continental Army under General George Washington, but also highlighted the profound impact that weather conditions can have on military outcomes. On one of the hottest days of the year, with temperatures soaring above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the extreme heat played a critical role in shaping the battle's dynamics and its ultimate outcome. Weather conditions leading up to the battle. In the days preceding the battle, soldiers from both sides endured sweltering heat and high humidity. Reports indicate that thunderstorms occurred just before the battle, contributing to elevated humidity levels that exacerbated the discomfort experienced by troops. The oppressive weather conditions were a source of concern for commanders, particularly General Washington, who worried about the health and readiness of his men. He noted in his correspondence that many soldiers had fallen ill due to the combination of heat and fatigue from their march through New Jersey's back country. The day of the battle on June 28, as the battle commenced, temperatures reached extremes that made combat nearly unbearable. Soldiers were reported to be collapsing from heat exhaustion at alarming rates. In fact, more men died from heat-related illnesses than from enemy fire during this engagement. The heavy woolen uniforms worn by soldiers were ill-suited for such conditions, leading to increased instances of heat stroke and dehydration. Impact on troop morale and performance. The relentless heat had a demoralizing effect on both armies. As troops struggled against the elements, their ability to fight effectively diminished. The British forces, particularly those under General Sir Henry Clinton, found their advance hampered by fatigue as they navigated through the intense heat while attempting to maintain their formations. The Americans, despite their own struggles, managed to regroup and hold their positions against the British onslaught. Strategic consequences of weather. The extreme weather conditions significantly influenced tactical decisions during the battle. Initially, General Charles Lee was tasked with flanking maneuvers against the British, but failed to execute his plan effectively due to concerns over his men's ability to endure the heat. Washington's eventual assumption of command was pivotal. He rallied his troops despite their exhaustion and led them into a counterattack against Clinton's forces. The role of leadership. Washington's leadership was crucial in navigating not only the battlefield tactics, but also in addressing the morale issues caused by weather conditions. His ability to inspire his troops amidst such challenging circumstances demonstrated a shift in American military capability. They were no longer merely reactive but could engage proactively against one of the world's most formidable armies. Casualties and aftermath. The aftermath of the Battle of Monmouth illustrated just how devastating weather can be in warfare. Estimates suggest that while both sides suffered considerable casualties, a significant portion resulted from heat-related illnesses rather than direct combat injuries. This fact underscores how environmental factors can alter expected military outcomes. Long-term implications. Although strategically inconclusive, neither side achieved a decisive victory. The battle was a turning point for American forces. It showcased their resilience and ability to stand firm against British troops. Washington's portrayal of Monmouth as a victory helped bolster American morale and solidified his reputation as a capable leader during a critical phase of the war. In conclusion, the weather conditions during the Battle of Monmouth were not merely background factors. They were pivotal elements that shaped both tactical decisions and troop performance. The extreme heat tested the limits of endurance for soldiers on both sides and ultimately influenced the battle's outcome. This engagement serves as a historical reminder of how environmental factors can dramatically affect warfare dynamics and outcomes. Understanding these influences is essential for comprehending not only this particular battle, but also broader military history where weather has consistently played a crucial role in shaping events. The Battle of Monmouth, fought on June 28, 1778, was a pivotal engagement in the American Revolutionary War. Although it ended indecisively, the battle had profound long-term impacts on the course of the war. The Continental Army, and American society. This speech will explore these impacts in detail, examining military, political, and social dimensions that shape the future of the United States. Military impacts. 1. Validation of training and leadership. The Battle of Monmouth marked a significant moment for General George Washington and his leadership of the Continental Army. Following the harsh winter at Valley Forge, where troops underwent rigorous training under Baron von Steuben, the soldiers demonstrated improved discipline and effectiveness in battle. This performance validated Washington's leadership and the training regimen, reinforcing his status as an indispensable leader of the Revolution. 2. Shift in military strategy. Monmouth signified a shift in military strategy for both the British and American forces. The British, under General Sir Henry Clinton, were forced to abandon their offensive strategy in favor of a more defensive posture. The inability to decisively defeat Washington's forces led to a reassessment of British tactics throughout the remainder of the war. For the Americans, Monmouth showcased their ability to stand toe-to-toe with British regulars in a European-style battle, fostering confidence among the troops and their leaders. 3. Consequences for Charles Lee. The battle had dire consequences for Major General Charles Lee, whose retreat order during the engagement led to his court-martial and subsequent removal from command. This incident not only eliminated a controversial figure within the Continental Army, but it also strengthened Washington's authority as commander-in-chief. Lee's failure at Monmouth served as a cautionary tale about leadership and accountability within the military ranks. Political effects. 1. Boosting American morale, the outcome at Monmouth provided a much-needed boost to American morale at a critical juncture in the war. Although tactically inconclusive, Washington's ability to rally his forces after Lee's withdrawal created an impression of victory that resonated throughout the colonies. This perception galvanized support for the revolutionary cause and helped maintain public enthusiasm for independence. 2. Strengthening the French alliance, the battle occurred shortly after France had formally entered the war as an ally of the United States in the wake of the American victory at Saratoga. The performance at Monmouth reassured French leaders of their support for the American cause, which strengthened their commitment to military assistance. This alliance would prove valuable in the later stages of the war, particularly during key engagements such as Yorktown. 3. Political implications for Washington. Washington's handling of the battle enhanced his political capital among Congress and revolutionary leaders. His decisive actions at Monmouth helped dispel doubts about his abilities in the wake of earlier controversies such as the Conway Plot, a plot that questioned his leadership, and thus enhanced his reputation as a steadfast leader committed to American independence. Social impacts. 1. Emergence of female characters in war narratives. The Battle of Monmouth is famously associated with Molly Pitcher, a figure who symbolizes women's contributions to the war effort. Mary Ludwig Hayes McCully became legendary for taking over from her husband at a cannon during the battle after he was incapacitated. This narrative highlighted women's roles in supporting the military effort and began to change societal perceptions of gender roles during war. 2. Impact on soldier identity and experience. The battle helped shape soldier identity within the Continental Army. The shared experience of enduring the harsh conditions of combat fostered camaraderie among soldiers and reinforced their commitment to the revolutionary cause. The bravery displayed by the troops at Monmouth became part of their collective identity as patriots fighting for freedom against oppression. 3. Long-lasting cultural legacy. Since then, Monmouth has been celebrated as a significant event in American history, marked by reenactments and educational programs that emphasize its importance in shaping national identity. The cultural legacy surrounding this battle has contributed to an enduring narrative of resilience and determination that defines the American character. In short, while the Battle of Monmouth may have ended without a clear victor, its lasting effects on military strategy, political dynamics, and social narratives were profound and far-reaching. The battle not only demonstrated George Washington's leadership, but it also strengthened American resolve at a critical time in history. As we reflect on this engagement, we recognize its role in shaping not only military outcomes but also national identity, a testament to the enduring legacy of those who fought for independence during this tumultuous period in American history. The Battle of Monmouth, fought on June 28, 1778, stands as a pivotal moment in the American Revolutionary War and a significant turning point in George Washington's leadership reputation. This battle, characterized by intense heat and chaotic conditions, tested not only the military capabilities of the Continental Army but also Washington's resolve and strategic acumen as a commander-in-chief. While the battle itself ended inconclusively, its implications for Washington's leadership were profound, solidifying his position and enhancing his reputation during a critical phase of the war. Context of the battle. Prelude to Monmouth. In the lead-up to the Battle of Monmouth, the Continental Army had undergone rigorous training at Valley Forge under the guidance of Baron von Steuben. This training aimed to transform the army into a more disciplined and effective fighting force capable of facing the seasoned British troops. The battle was also significant as it marked Washington's first major engagement after overcoming challenges to his leadership, including the Conway Cabal, a political maneuver that sought to undermine his authority. The battle commenced when General Charles Lee launched an attack against British rearguard elements commanded by General Sir Henry Clinton. However, Lee's lack of confidence in his troops led to a premature retreat, creating chaos among American ranks. Upon learning of this disarray, Washington rushed to the battlefield and took command, demonstrating decisive leadership by rallying his troops and reorganizing the forces. His ability to maintain composure under pressure and inspire confidence in his men was crucial in preventing a complete rout. Washington's leadership during the battle. Tactical decisions. Washington's response to Lee's failure was critical in shaping his reputation. He quickly reassessed the situation, established a defensive line on Perrines Hill, and coordinated counterattacks against British forces. His strategic decisions not only halted British advances but also showcased his military prowess. Although he did not achieve a clear victory, since neither side could claim outright dominance, Washington effectively managed to retain control of the battlefield. Morale and perception. The aftermath of Monmouth significantly influenced perceptions of Washington's leadership. Despite being labeled a tactical draw, Washington's ability to rally his troops and maintain order amidst chaos was viewed as a testament to his capabilities as a leader. The Continental Army's performance under fire demonstrated their improved training and discipline, which bolstered morale among soldiers and supporters alike. This battle became a symbol of resilience for the American cause. Impact on Washington's reputation. Elimination of rivals. One of the most significant outcomes of the Battle of Monmouth was its role in eliminating potential rivals to Washington's command. Following Lee's poor performance, Washington removed him from command, thereby consolidating his authority over the Continental Army. This decisive action not only reaffirmed Washington's leadership but also diminished dissenting voices within military ranks that had previously threatened his position. Congressional support. In recognition of Washington's efforts at Monmouth, Congress formally thanked him for what they perceived as an important victory over British forces. This acknowledgement further solidified his standing as an indispensable leader during a time when doubts about his command had begun to surface due to political machinations within Congress. 29. The battle thus served as a rallying point for both military personnel and political supporters. The iconic leader post-Monmouth. Washington began to embody the image of an iconic leader, the man on the white horse. His calm demeanor during crisis situations contrasted sharply with British commanders who often led from the front. This distinction helped cultivate an image of Washington as not just a military leader but also a symbol of American perseverance and unity. The Battle of Monmouth was more than just a military engagement. It was a defining moment that significantly influenced George Washington's leadership reputation. Through effective crisis management, strategic decision-making, and elimination of rivals, Washington emerged from Monmouth with renewed authority and respect. The battle underscored his role as an indispensable leader during one of America's most tumultuous periods, setting the stage for future successes in the Revolutionary War and establishing him as a foundational figure in American history. The Battle of Monmouth, fought on June 28, 1778, serves as a critical case study in evaluating George Washington's leadership compared to other significant battles during the American Revolutionary War. While the battle ended in a tactical draw, it was pivotal in shaping Washington's reputation as a military leader and highlighted his evolving strategies and command style. Comparison of leadership in key battles. The Battle of Trenton, December 26, 1776. Context and leadership. Washington's leadership at the Battle of Trenton is often regarded as one of his most brilliant strategic moves. Following a series of defeats, he executed a daring surprise attack against Hessian forces after crossing the icy Delaware River. This bold maneuver revitalized the American cause and showcased Washington's ability to inspire and mobilize his troops under dire circumstances. Impact on reputation. The victory at Trenton significantly boosted Washington's reputation as a decisive leader. His willingness to take risks and execute unconventional tactics earned him respect and loyalty from his soldiers, setting a high standard for his subsequent engagements. The Battle of Saratoga, September to October 1777, context and leadership, while not directly commanded by Washington. The American victory at Saratoga was crucial in securing French support for the revolutionary cause. General Horatio Gates led the American forces to victory. But Washington's strategic oversight and ability to foster cooperation among different commanders were vital. Impact on reputation. Although Washington did not lead this battle, it reinforced his reputation as a leader capable of uniting various factions within the Continental Army. The success at Saratoga was attributed to the groundwork laid by Washington's earlier efforts in training and organizing the army. The Battle of Monmouth, June 28, 1778, context and leadership. At Monmouth, Washington faced significant challenges when General Charles Lee's initial attack faltered. Washington's response was marked by decisive action. He removed Lee from command amidst chaos and rallied his troops to continue the fight against British forces. His ability to maintain order and adapt to rapidly changing circumstances was crucial during this engagement. Impact on reputation. Despite being tactically inconclusive, Monmouth allowed Washington to eliminate rivals like Lee and solidify his command over the Continental Army. His leadership during this battle demonstrated resilience and adaptability, reinforcing his status as a steadfast leader committed to the American cause. The battle also marked a turning point where Washington began to embrace a more defensive strategy, recognizing the importance of conserving his forces for future engagements. The Siege of Yorktown, September to October 1781, context and leadership. Washington's leadership culminated in the Siege of Yorktown, where he coordinated with French forces to trap British General Cornwallis. This decisive victory was characterized by meticulous planning and effective communication among Allied forces. Impact on reputation. The successful siege established Washington as a master strategist who could effectively lead joint operations with foreign allies. This victory ultimately secured American independence and solidified Washington's legacy as one of history's great military leaders. Conclusion. In comparing these key battles, Trenton, Saratoga, Monmouth, and Yorktown, it is evident that each engagement contributed uniquely to George Washington's leadership reputation. Monmouth stands out for its demonstration of adaptability in crisis management and for reinforcing his authority over the Continental Army during a tumultuous period. While it did not yield a clear victory, it showcased Washington's resilience and commitment to American independence, ultimately enhancing his legacy as an effective military leader.